Your calendar says alignment. Your business feels stuck. You sit in a meeting. You debate. You nod. You run out of time. By lunch, the decision has evaporated. No owner. No deadline. No next step. Someone's notes are buried in a doc nobody opens again. Next week, you pay for the same argument twice, with the same people, at the same hourly rates. That is not collaboration. That is a leak you can measure. And the worst part is, you think the notes saved you. Moving to slide 2. Notes are not memory, they are captured, not committed. If there is no single place everyone trusts, your record is just personal screenshots. If decisions are not written in a consistent format, nobody can scan them. If owners are not mapped to each decision, accountability stays fuzzy. If due dates are optional, nothing has weight. A meeting without commitment is just a conversation you keep repurchasing. Moving to slide 3. The real deliverable of a meeting is not a transcript. It is a decision record you can act on. After every meeting, you want 5 sections. Every time. First, decisions. Write them as one-liners starting with "we will" or "we will not." Add the date and any constraints, like budget caps or scope limits. Second, an owner per decision, not a team. One person who is responsible for moving it forward and reporting back. Third, next steps. Keep them atomic. One verb, one object, one outcome. Draft pricing page copy, not work on marketing. Attach a due date that forces trade-offs, even if it is rough. Fourth, open questions. This is where ambiguity lives, so it stops infecting the rest of the notes. Questions get an owner and a time box. Fifth, risks and assumptions. Write the top 2 risks you are knowingly taking, and the assumptions that must be true for the decision to work. When something breaks later, you will know whether you missed execution or you bet wrong. That is a meeting that earns its cost. Moving to slide 4. Now give that deliverable one home, always. One system of record that is easy to access and harder to ignore. If decisions live in chat, action items in email, and risks in someone's head, you do not have a system. You have scavenger hunts. Pick one place. A doc hub, a project tool, a wiki. The tool matters less than the rule. Every meeting writes back to the same repository. Use stable naming, so people can find things without guessing. Try team, topic, YYYMMDD. Then add consistent tags like product area, customer segment, or quarter. Link to source notes, but do not make the source notes the destination. Source is for context. The decision record is for execution. Make it searchable by topic, not by attendee. If you want to know what did we decide about onboarding, you should not need to remember who was in the room. Finally, make it visible to stakeholders by default. Not everyone needs to edit, but everyone should be able to read what was decided, who owns it, and when it is due. Clarity scales when the record has one address. Moving to slide 5. This is where AI actually helps. Feed it the transcript or raw notes and have it output the structure. Decisions, owners, next steps, open questions, risks. Then use prompts that force completion. Who owns this decision? What is the due date? What is the blocker? Let it flag vague action items, missing owners, and dates that never got said out loud. AI should do the sorting, so you can do the committing. Moving to slide 6. Vague action items are where good meetings go to die. If your notes say follow up, look into, or align, you do not have a task. You have anxiety. Start with a verb. Not marketing, but draft, send, compare, decide, publish. Then force a single measurable output. One task equals one deliverable. Draft one-page onboarding email, not improve onboarding. If you need multiple deliverables, split it. Make the owner one person. Not sales team, not engineering, not we. One name, one throat to choke, one person who can say yes or no. Add a due date or a trigger. Dates work. Triggers work too, after legal approves the copy, or when the vendor returns pricing. Finally, write a definition of done that a stranger could verify. Done means link in doc, approved by Sam, merged to main, and announcement posted. When every action item is shaped like this, you stop collecting vague promises and start collecting decisions with context. Moving to slide 7. A decision without context becomes a debate every time it resurfaces. Write the decision as a sentence. We will use vendor A for payments. Then list the options you actually considered, even if it is just A versus building it. Add the reason for the choice in plain language. A has front tooling today. Integration is 2 weeks. Capture constraints and trade-offs. Cost, security, timeline, user impact. Finally, define revisit conditions. Not we can revisit later, but revisit if volume exceeds 50K transactions per day, or if pricing changes more than 20%. This is how you keep the same decision from getting relitigated in 3 months, especially when the owner is a real person, not a job title. Moving to slide 8. An owner is not a role. Product cannot wake up on Monday and ship anything. One accountable name can. Write one owner who is responsible for the outcome, even if 10 people contribute. List helpers separately with what they are providing. Priya provides data. Leo reviews copy. If something gets blocked, define the escalation path in advance.
If vendor is unresponsive for 48 hours, escalate to Dana. Do a quick capacity check before you assign it. Ask, do you have room this week, and what drops if you take this? Then get the owner to confirm in writing, even a simple confirmed in the thread. Clarity here prevents silent failure, and it also makes it easy to turn commitments into a workflow, instead of relying on memory. Moving to slide 9. If your system depends on people remembering, it will fail at the exact moment you are busy. Turn decisions into automatic workflow. The moment a decision is logged, auto-create task tickets. Do not ask someone to create a Jira later. The ticket should be generated from the meeting note or decision record, with the verb, deliverable, owner, and due date already filled. Link every task back to the decision that created it. That way, when someone asks, why are we doing this? The answer is one click away, and nobody has to reconstruct the reasoning from Slack. Sync due dates across tools. If the due date changes in the project board, it updates in the doc and the calendar reminder. If the decision has revisit conditions, create a scheduled check-in task tied to that trigger. Notify owners instantly in the channel they actually use. One clean notification with the deliverable, definition of done, and escalation path. Then set a weekly review cadence that is ruthless and short. Scan only for overdue items, blocked items, and decisions that hit revisit conditions. When workflow carries the load, you can start trusting what your AI assistant produces, because it is grounded in real sources. Moving to slide 10. AI is useful, but only when it is pinned to evidence. When it generates notes, make it quote the supporting lines for each decision and task. If something is uncertain, it must label it as uncertain. No guessing owners, no invented deadlines. If the source does not specify, the AI leaves it blank and asks. And every output that creates work requires human sign-off. That is how you get speed without letting fiction turn into commitments, and it keeps everything clean for retrieval later. Moving to slide 11. If your notes are not easy to retrieve, they are not notes. They are just a diary. Build retrieval into the way you capture the meeting. Start with decision IDs. Every decision gets a short code like D 2026 07 18 03. When someone asks, why did we do this? You can point to one line that settles it. Add topic tags that match how you search, not how you wish you searched. Think pricing, onboarding, security, hiring. Keep a short controlled list so tags stay consistent. Create an owner index. One person, one name, no role titles. If you rotate responsibilities, the note still needs a human to chase. Filter by date and project. Put the project name in the first line, and always include the meeting date in the title, so it sorts cleanly. Finally, write a one-line meeting purpose at the top. If the purpose is not clear, you will not know what to pull later. When retrieval is effortless, follow-through stops being optional. Moving to slide 12. Right after the meeting, run a tight post-meeting loop. Set a 5-minute timer. Fix messy bullets, remove duplicates,
and turn vague statements into actions. Then confirm owners in plain language.
Alex owns this is different from Alex helps. If it is shared, split it into 2 actions with 2 owners. Negotiate deadlines while everyone is still present. If a date feels fake, ask what has to change for it to be real: scope, resources, or priority. Publish within 1 hour. Fast publishing prevents side conversations from rewriting what was agreed. Finally, surface blockers early. Add a single line under each action, blocked by, with a name or dependency. That one habit turns meetings into momentum, and momentum turns into a standard people can trust. Moving to slide 13. Here is your new meeting standard. Decisions get logged every time. Actions get pushed out automatically. Owners get checked weekly, not randomly. Open questions stay visible until someone closes them. You hold fewer repeat meetings because you stop redeciding the same things. If you want more systems like this, subscribe. And comment with the one part of your meeting notes that breaks first: decisions, actions, or ownership.
Automation scales work. Understanding scales decisions.